At 9:17 p.m. on August 3, 2024, Officer Lauren McKay of the Redwood Valley Police Department responded to a call about a dog allegedly trapped inside a vehicle at a Target parking lot in Redwood Valley, California. The caller claimed the dog was locked inside with all the windows rolled up on a hot summer night. Officer McKay arrived at the scene roughly 10 minutes later and located a dark-colored SUV parked near the far end of the lot. Inside the vehicle was a medium-sized dog lying calmly on the back seat. The windows were fully closed and the engine was off. Weather records from that evening show the outside temperature hovering around 88 degrees Fahrenheit, but notably, the sun had already set and the area was fully shaded. The dog showed no visible signs of distress, no heavy panting, no frantic movement, no signs of overheating. Approximately 6 minutes after Officer McKay arrived, the vehicle's owner exited the store. That owner was Daniel Reeves. The interaction that followed was captured entirely on body camera footage. Officer McKay immediately asked, "Is this your vehicle?" Daniel confirmed that it was. The officer stated she had considered breaking the window due to the temperature, explaining that even mild heat can turn a parked car into a dangerous environment for animals. Daniel calmly responded that the vehicle had been running with the air conditioning on full blast before he shut it off and went inside for less than 15 minutes. He explained that cracking the windows would have allowed warmer air to enter and undo the cooling he had just created. Officer McKay then instructed Daniel to open the door and lower the windows, which he did without hesitation. At that point, the conversation shifted. Instead of continuing a welfare check, Officer McKay asked Daniel for his driver's license. Daniel stated he did not have it with him. When asked for alternate identification, Daniel politely declined and asked what crime he was suspected of committing. Officer McKay responded that leaving a dog inside a vehicle on a hot night could constitute animal cruelty, making it a criminal investigation. Daniel immediately requested a supervisor. Minutes later, Sergeant Michael Torres arrived on scene. Daniel explained, calmly and clearly, that under California law, he was not required to provide physical identification unless he was under arrest, and that he had not been lawfully arrested. Both officers insisted that because they were investigating a potential crime, Daniel was legally obligated to identify himself. Daniel disagreed and cited the law. He explained that while officers may request identification, refusal alone is not a crime unless a lawful arrest has occurred. Despite this, the officers continued insisting that failure to identify could lead to arrest, and even suggested the dog could be impounded if Daniel did not comply. Daniel remained calm, never raised his voice, and never insulted the officers. Instead, he repeatedly asked them to read the statute. They refused. Eventually, after nearly 25 minutes, the officers conceded that the dog was not in distress and that no animal cruelty had occurred. Daniel was released without citation or arrest. Following the encounter, Daniel filed a formal complaint with the Redwood Valley Police Department. Weeks later, the police chief issued a written response acknowledging that the officers had misinterpreted the state's identification law, but also attempted to justify the prolonged detention by blaming Daniel's refusal to cooperate. Daniel did not accept that explanation. He hired an attorney and filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against the city, alleging unlawful detention and constitutional violations. Months later, the case was resolved out of court under undisclosed terms. This incident serves as a textbook example of how a legitimate welfare check can quickly spiral into a constitutional violation when officers mistake suspicion for proof and compliance for legality. The officers were justified in checking on the dog. They were not justified in detaining the owner without reasonable suspicion, demanding identification they were not legally entitled to, or escalating the encounter based on incorrect assumptions about the law. Daniel Reeves handled the situation almost perfectly, remaining calm, informed, and disciplined both during the encounter and afterward. This case reinforces an important truth. Exercising your rights respectfully is not obstruction, and knowing the law is often the strongest protection a citizen has.